Wi-Fi can handle it in slideshow.
Looks good.
All right, I'm just gonna start moving it one slide. Perfect. All right, I'll be managing slides. So as we go through, I'm not moving quick enough. Just let me know next slide and I'll catch up.
Great. Katie, what do we have to do to go live? We should do it.
You're on, Mike. Go ahead.
No. Matt, why don't you?
Are we ready, Mike?
I believe so.
Okay. I'd just like to welcome everyone to this kickoff meeting, and I greatly appreciate those who have agreed to serve on the Columbia Comeback Committee. I especially want to thank Michael Tucker and Jeff Hunt for agreeing to co-chair this important committee. The goal of this committee is to serve as a resource for county businesses to navigate the new normal and to help business owners adapt and respond. Though we can't predict when our region will hit all the metrics that are required, which we'll talk about later, we need to be prepared for when we do hit those metrics. Local health officials will be critical in every phase of the reopening by testing, monitoring, and evaluating. I envision some of Columbia County's activities being developing an online portal for business to stay up with date on training, resource materials, and other best practices in limiting community spread. Providing guidance and resources to help businesses develop strategies to stay profitable, and to provide training sessions for future planning. Thank you.
Shall we go to Jeff Hunt now?
Yes.
Katie, can you speed up the slide to 9?
One of the things that you'll see as we go through these slides are the committee members. We'll just do that briefly, Jeff, and then these names will be also on material that will be on the website at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, so asked to join the committee is
Jeff, I'm sorry, the mayor was next.
right, I thought so. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I just wanted to give like a brief on the happenings in the city of Hudson during this virus era. So our youth center is delivering over 600 meals to a host of individuals. We've also gave out over 2,000 masks across the city. The state gave us a bunch, and we have also citizens who've been making masks as well that we've given out. I just had a meeting with with Senator Gillibrand's office that I moderated along with the Hudson Business Coalition. And during that meeting, we kind of got to the bottom of the basic needs of the businesses in our community and how they can directly support from our higher elected representatives. We also are having daily team meetings to see how we need to move through the city each day. We're working with Future Hudson on different signage through the city to let people know to wear masks and practice social distancing, and kind of having a theme across the city of Hudson that we're hoping to adopt countywide. A lot of the other villages and cities in the county have a lot of people that come in from New York City and other places to visit and to stay in Hudson. And we want them to follow the same rules as well as, the people that live in all of our cities and counties. I'm also working with the New York Council of Mayors on different measures regarding opening up and just seeing across the board that we're all on the same page and the same messaging going across. I'll be starting to work with Mayor Kathy Sheenan out of Albany. These regional calls that are starting actually today, that I'm excited to kind of partner with everybody, because we're all in this together and we're all going to need support for our governments as well as our businesses. We're facing some financial downturns, and we want to make sure that, when this is all over, we're back to being a thriving city.
So, Katie, can you advance to the next slide?
We're getting some indication from YouTube that there's some echo that's making it difficult to hear. Is that something that you can advise us on?
If people can mute their phones.
Mute their devices, whether they're on the computer or their phones, until they want to talk.
Thank you.
So the goals of the committee is to minimize the spread of the virus by prioritizing public health, understanding state guidelines, and keep everyone updated, help businesses respond and adapt to the new normal, coordinate countywide collaboration and development of a resource hub, support business in the county's key industry clusters for future growth, and set realistic economic expectations and to prepare for future disruptions. And it must be remembered that this is the Board of Supervisors Economic Development Select Subcommittee. So we don't have any decision-making authority. Our task is just to help the county come up with a plan to reopen when we work with our regional partners. Next slide, Katie, please. The committee members' responsibility include identifying challenges and solutions in your area of expertise, to communicate guidelines and resources within industry sectors, share your knowledge and network to aid reopening, and to provide feedback from businesses to county and state officials.
At this point, we're going to hear from several county departments, including Dr. Drummer from the Community College, and we'll start with Bill Black from Emergency Management Office.
Good afternoon. I wanted to share with the committee where the Emergency Management Department has what our projects have been ongoing and what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, and what we can do for businesses in the county if they are looking for some assistance. First, stating that the Emergency Management Department has been working with all towns, cities, villages, nursing homes, and nonprofits, your public school systems, even some of your private school systems, and getting them the proper PPE equipment through the state and the federal government. Any request that does come in, what we do is we push the request through the State Operations Center, and they push it through the federal government, which in turn takes some time, but they've gotten a lot better as the pandemic has gone along. So currently we are taking a large shipment today that is going to nursing homes in the county. But more importantly, if a town needs certain equipment, I know a lot of the towns have called and requested hand sanitizers or masks. We do the best we can to get those for you in a timely fashion. Our county government has also been very helpful. We've been getting some donations. The county has been funding some of these requests if we can't get them through the state. And this is just the actual beginning for the Emergency Management Department. The second part of the Emergency Management Department will be the recovery aspect, where we will be looking for FEMA reimbursement for any out-of-pocket expenses that any of our partners have been through. So we handle the public sector, which is, when we say public, people confuse that with the general population. This is, when we say public, that is strictly the towns, the cities, the villages, the nursing homes, the nonprofits, the churches, the schools. And we take that and we work with them very closely. And on recovery ends, we also work with them to go forward and try to get them as much money as possible. The second part of it is, what do we do for the individual assistance? So the individual assistance, you've seen part of it through the Paycheck Protective Program that was administered by the SBA. The second part of the SBA is the loan programs that they have out there right now. So any individual business, a restaurant, a barber shop, a automotive dealer, anyone can apply for that money, and we can get them the links to do it. It can be a little bit involved. It's not something where it's a one-page document, you fill it out and they send you money. But with this pandemic that we've been dealing with, I think there's a lot of businesses that are going to need help going forward. So I would recommend that anyone that needs that, we will get links and we'll post them through the county website so that they can apply. And if they do need help, we will do that. The next part of
It looks like we lost Bill somewhere.
I'm back. Somebody tried calling. I apologize. The next part is the assistance with documents. So as we move forward with the committee, we're going to be helping assist with guidance documents. We will help review them. We'll help edit those. We will help any business that really needs it. I think that a lot of the documents are the real basics we've all heard and we've seen, and a generic document we should be able to put forth as a county. And the Emergency Management Department can help with that. We will assist with anyone that needs us to review their document, or if they're having problems putting one together. And the one thing that they need to understand is most of the people that work in emergency management come from the private and the public sector, myself included. So currently, I work for, I own my own business. I am just as involved as everyone else is in this county. And then I've also worked for Columbia County in the emergency management office. So I fully understand where everyone is going through, and I probably have a little more insight than a lot of people, because I know on the public side what we have to do, and then on the private side what we need to do to get open again. And that's all I have.
Next, we have Dr. Carly Drummer, the president of Columbia-Greene Community College.
Well, good afternoon to all my colleagues in Columbia County. It's nice to see all of you. I thought I'd start by giving you sort of an overview of where we are currently, and then take a look at what we're going to be planning, as we move forward. So starting the first week in March, before the crisis really hit with full force and sent us all scurrying home to work, we formed what we called the Pandemic Preparedness Task Force. And that had included representatives from the key areas of the college. So, for example, it was my executive leadership team, security, facilities, IT, nursing faculty, human resources, institutional effectiveness, disability services, community services, and marketing. And we started getting together 3 times a week to talk about the what ifs. And as I said, when we first started meeting, that was before the crisis had actually hit and Governor Cuomo put us on pause. So we continued that 3-day-a-week schedule until probably the second week in April, and then determined that there was less information coming from the governor's office and from SUNY. So we started just meeting bi-weekly, twice a week. So that's the schedule we're on now. The CARES Act funding, we are going to be receiving $840,707. $420,354 of that will be earmarked to go to students who are in dire need because of the pandemic, and $420,353 will be available to us for the institution. Regarding the latter, I'm not quite certain exactly what will qualify for spending with respect to the college, but it's my understanding from my colleagues that we'll be able to use the funding to provide help where we need it because of the pandemic. So certainly we have a lot of expenses that we've incurred because of the crisis. So we're very grateful for that CARES Act funding, which we don't have yet, but we assume it will be arriving very shortly. The Columbia-Greene Community College Foundation launched a $50,000 challenge grant this past Tuesday for Giving Tuesday Now. And that money will be used for a student emergency fund. And so far we've raised close to $20,000. So we are hoping that we will get to the $50,000 mark to get the match, and then we'll be up to $100,000, which would be really great for our students. And that challenge runs through July 1st. I have to say that $50,000 challenge money is coming from an anonymous donor who contributed $2.5 million. Well, actually, the person contributed $5 million, 2.5 of which was earmarked for student emergency funding. And so the chancellor has divvied it up among the colleges and universities. And so our portion of that is $50,000. So we're very grateful to that person, whomever he or she may be. We also, shortly after we were put into pause, the nursing department donated gowns, masks, and gloves and stethoscopes to Columbia Memorial Healthcare. The art department donated 3D media equipment for plastic headbands to a group that was making those for CMH. Our human services department donated inventory from the giving closet that we maintain on campus, and that includes feminine hygiene products, diapers, other paper products, things that students might need. And our food pantry also donated the inventory to the Salvation Army. So we're trying to do what we can to help the community. The past 2 weekends, yesterday and the day before, not such great days, but one of our nursing team members started a bike-a-thon in order to raise money for the CMH nurses. I'm not sure how much she raised yet, but we were really grateful for her doing that. Apparently, this is an annual ride every year, but this year, of course, it was very different because people were riding alone or 6 feet apart. So that was like I said, yesterday and the day before was not great with respect to the weather. We also participated in Friday with the county. We were very, very proud to be a testing site for the COVID-19 virus. We tested, apparently 100 people had actually signed up, which was the maximum. So it was filled to capacity, but we ended up testing about 80 people because there were several no-shows. Things went very, very well, and I'm deeply grateful to our security team for helping control the traffic. And as I said, we were very, very proud to be partnering with Columbia County on this initiative. So moving forward, I have formed 2 task forces, one called Co-Green Forward Operations and the other Co-Green Forward Academics. So our operations task force is going to be taking a look at preparing employees to return to the campus at some point when we are able to do that. And we're going to be looking at reconfiguring office and public spaces, heightened cleaning processes, and again, taking our cue from the governor and from SUNY. With respect to academics, we are looking at fall 2020. Our summer programs, both summer 1 and summer 2, will be totally remote and online learning. We are not quite sure where we're going to be in the fall, but basically the 3 options would be that if by some miracle we would be able to bring students back face to face. We might be able to accommodate that, albeit if there is social distancing protocols still in place, that would not be possible for us because we would be reconfiguring our classrooms to accommodate no more than 10 people. And clearly we can't run a class with 10 students. That's financially not sustainable. And then we're taking a look at doing a hybrid model whereby there would be some classes held face-to-face, such as our science labs, our art classes, automotive technology, and building construction technology, where students really physically need to be on campus in order to do their work because it's hands-on. And then, of course, the third option would be going totally online and remote for the fall semester. We are planning to make the announcement of where we are going to be heading at the end of this month. So by June 1st, everyone at the college and in the community will know what we have planned. Right now, our biggest concern, this will not surprise anybody, is funding. The New York State budget has indicated between a 30 and 50% cut to us in state funding if we don't get the federal stimulus money. So fingers crossed, everything crossed, that we are going to get something for the state in order to help, bail us out. And we know we're going to have to reduce budgets. There's no doubt about that. But taking a 50% cut for us from the state would be a $1.4 million reduction on a $16 million budget. So you don't have to be a math wizard to figure that out. I want to give a special shout out to Mike Tucker for his help as we went into an advocacy launch a couple of weeks ago to reach out to all of our elected officials, telling them how important the community college is to our county, to our communities, and we'll see what happens. But Mike, thank you for helping with that. So with that, I'm happy to take questions if anybody has questions.
I think we're going to do questions at the end, but
Okay.
Thank you very much. I think we all understand the importance that the community college plays in our economy and also the workforce development and training component of recovery. Two quick housekeeping items. One, we do have 190 plus people on YouTube. So you have a great audience, and thank you those on YouTube for joining us. And if you are on YouTube and you have questions, we may get to them. If we don't, we will answer them after the meeting, but please email them to info@columbiacomeback.com, info@columbiacomeback.com. Next, we're pleased to have Ann Cooper, the administrator of Columbia Tourism. Ann, are you there? We will come back to her as soon as find her, but.
Is that better?
Oh, there she is.
Mike, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
All right. I had the wrong mute button. I'm, techno challenge Danny. I'm sorry about that. Okay. I want to start off just by thanking Chairman Morrell for including tourism on this very important committee and charge of this committee. Mike asked that I speak briefly about the economic impact that tourism has on the county, and then just give a little overview of what we have been doing since we've been working from home. So just so everybody has an understanding of what tourism is and what it means to the county, tourism is key to Columbia County's economy. Tourist spending supports jobs, generates tax revenues, and supports industries that cater to the needs of the visitor, such as restaurants, lodging, recreation, arts and culture, event sites, and the list is endless. In terms of the economic impact, I'm going to read this because I don't want to mess up with the numbers here. And these are 2018 stats. I would normally be receiving 2019 stats in July of this year from the State Division of Tourism, and I'm hoping that that will happen, but I don't know. So again, 2018. In 2018, tourists spent nearly $160 million in Columbia County. That was a 9% increase over 2017. In addition to direct spending by tourists, worker income from jobs supported by tourism was estimated to be over $83 million. Tourism also generated over $19.8 million in tax revenue. Over half of this total was local taxes, including local sales, property, and bed tax. So it's a staggering, important industry to the well-being of the county. And we all know at the moment, many of it is on hold, postponed, and we're here to get that to come back. Just briefly, in early March, we realized that we could no longer look outward. We had to look inward as our mission to help Columbia County and its economy and collecting sales tax. So to that end, we generated a list of restaurants and craft beverage makers that were offering takeout and delivery, and put that together. And then I realized couldn't do this alone. It was too big and too important. So I reached out to Mike Tucker, and I reached out to Jeff Hunt, Mike at CEDC, Jeff at the Chamber. Since then, that was in early April, I have been funneling to Mike, to CEDC, information that I received from U.S. Travel Association, from NISTIA, State Division of Tourism, restaurant associations, important webinars. So CEDC for us became the portal to get that information out to the county. Working with the chamber, after we had done the dining list, we decided to create a retail list. And that was daunting, but it was done about, I think it's been up for about 2 weeks. We broke that into 3 categories: retail, automotive, and home and garden. So that is out there, and we are now working on a service industry list. And this will all tie into a buy local campaign when which will be ongoing. This is all ongoing through social media, Facebook, Instagram, community boards, blogs, you name it. So I can't thank Mike's office and Jeff at the chamber. They just, the 3 of us have been, as they will say, on the phone quite often, quite a lot, trying to wrap our head around how to get Columbia to come back. And I fully believe we will. It's going to be very time consuming. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be challenging, but I know that Columbia will come back strong. So that's it for me, Mike.
Thank you, Ann. We now have Jack Mabb, the County Health Director. I see he's on the line here. There you go. Hey, Jack.
Okay, now can you hear me?
We can. Welcome.
Well, I'm very technology challenged. I'm of that right age that I have to have somebody help me with these things. All right, so I want to start out by talking about approach to reopening. I think it's important for people to understand that when it comes to reopening, we are part of the capital region. Columbia County can't reopen on its own. And the counties involved in the capital region are Albany, Schenectady, Saratoga, Rensselaer, Columbia-Greene counties. So when we look at it, there are some pluses and some minuses to be part of a regional opening rather than a local opening. Some of those are kind of obvious, but when it gets down to the core metrics that the governor wants us to be looking at, I think it's helpful for us to be part of a larger county. I want to talk a little bit about the numbers when it comes to positive cases in the region. Dutchess County is well over 3,000 positive cases. Albany County is well over 1,000, I believe, up 12 or 1,300 cases. Actually, Greene County is the one with the least number of cases. Columbia County has the second least number of cases. As of this morning, we had 326 cases, positive cases. 152 of those are in 2 nursing homes. So that's pretty close to half. When you add in the staff that are involved there, we had 62 staff between those 2 homes. We have 112 community cases. I think that's a pretty low number. I think that indicates that we're doing a good job of socially distancing. But I also think it's indicative of a lack of testing down here. We did our first clinic at the college, and thank you, Dr. Drummer, for that, where we were able to test, but we were able to test only because of the fact that we had some donors that donated some money and we were able to buy kits. Can we go back one slide, please? Okay, there you go. So when it comes to reopening, these are the core factors: monitoring new infections, which we've been doing all along since March. I'm going to talk about that along in the context of contact tracing, which we've also been doing since March. Contact tracing is done by communicable disease nurses. They do it all the time with tuberculosis and other infectious disease that are reportable to the state of New York. So we've been doing the contact tracing all along. I've had 5 nurses doing that up until fairly recently. We've begun to train 8 other people to do the contact tracing. That is in part based upon what the governor wants to see happening as far as reopening. The healthcare capacity is not something obviously that we're necessarily involved in. And I did allude to the diagnostic testing capacity. Albany County, Dutchess County, some of the counties around us have a greater capacity, and that's a plus for us. They can get the test kits, they can monitor more, and I think that's when it comes to reopening, that's going to be a real plus for us. So move on to the next slide. Okay. We all watched the governor's press conferences. We see that the deaths and the hospitalizations are slowly declining. It's great to see the numbers down, but it's sad to see any cases at all. 15 new cases or 5 new deaths on a 3-day rolling period. We had 2 deaths this morning in Columbia County alone. We had 4 new positive cases in Columbia County alone today. So you can see that we may not be quite there, but again, you factor in us with the capital region, we have, I think we're going to get there. 2 new COVID-19 admitted per 100,000 residents a day. That's another thing that I know Jay Cahalan is on this call. He can certainly speak to. 30% total hospital and ICU beds available. I know that the census is down in a lot of hospitals. People really don't want to necessarily go to the hospital. I think we have that capacity in the region. 30 tests for every 1,000 residents per month. That's going to be one of the biggest problems for us. To date, since the beginning of March, we've tested 2,440 people. And if you go by the 30 tests per 1,000 in terms of Columbia County, that comes out to pretty close to 1,900 tests a month. We need more tests. We need the capacity to do more tests, and that's something that can only come from the state of New York. 30 contact tracers for every 100,000 residents. As I indicated earlier, we've been working with 5 up until recently. We added 8 more who are currently in training. We have 2 more to add to that. So if you do the math on this, Columbia County needs 18 contact tracers. We're up to 15. So I think that we can reach that. So I think as a region, I think we have some real pluses going on. And I think we can, other than the test, which we have no control over, I think we can get to these metrics and I think we can make it happen. That's what I got, Mr. Tucker.
Mike, there's no sound.
Unmute, Mike.
We still don't have any sound, Mike.
I guess Mike's at that age you were talking about as well, Jack.
He looks to be in that neighborhood, yeah.
Where'd Mike go?
Mike's going to talk about the regional perspective, even more in detail, and from the state's perspective. Katie, if you just send Mike a quick text to let him know to unmute himself.
Yep, working on it. 1 second.
So this has been a totally collaborative effort between the chairman's office, his team, the board of supervisors, economic development committee, and staffing. Mike's staff and the chamber staff has been all in on this. So we may have a few snafus during this conversation today, but just know we're working very hard for all of us to be able to reopen safely. Hope I did okay with filling the void for a minute, Mr. Chairman.
You did fine. But no, Mike has left the meeting, it says.
He's probably got to dial back in.
The next slide, Jeff, is going to be walking us through the phases of reopening. Would you be comfortable just stepping in the interim and walking us through those 4 phases?
He's back.
Is Mike back yet? If not, I could go ahead. Phase 1, which is the one we're really focusing in on now, is the construction, manufacture, and wholesale supply chain, along with select retail curbside pickup. The governor is having us open up in phases for several reasons to make sure that we continue with the matrix that Jack talked about. And every time that we get ready to do a phase and go to a second phase, the state wants to hear our numbers through those matrices. So again, we do have people represented from those 3 phase 1 industries: construction, manufacturing, wholesale supply chain, and select retail curbside pickup as a part of this subcommittee, select subcommittee. Phase 2 would be professional services, finance and insurance. And I guess that means that many of you guys have been working from home, that they'll allow you to go back to your office spaces. Then phase 2 also includes retail, admin support, real estate, and rental leasing. Phase 3 would be some format of restaurants and food services. We're not sure of the capacity for that yet. It will be phased into 25, 50, and 75% capacity until we meet those matrices again. And then hotel and accommodations. Phase 4 will include arts and entertainment, recreation, and education.
Thanks, Jeff.
No problem, Mike. Go ahead.
Jack, I'm older than you, obviously, for technology capacity. But on our next slide, the governor has also formulated guidelines to reopen, as many of you know, based on CDC guidelines: adjust workplace hours, reduce density, social distancing protocols, restrict travel for non-essential employees, require anyone in frequent contact with each other to wear a mask, strict cleaning and sanitation standards, continuous health screening to enter the workplace, and then the continued tracing and tracking and reporting of cases that Jack Mabb referenced. Then begin to look at how to address potential liability processes as you expand your business and the impact on the public. As you know, the challenges ahead are real. And the businesses who are listening in and who are represented by the members of this committee have each been impacted over these last several months by lost revenue, figuring out how to reopen in a way that reduces the spread of the virus, and at the same time, how to adapt their business models to stay profitable in a different environment. Those challenges can be met, we believe, by working to build a plan and strategies now that will enable us to move forward. Ramping up revenues will be difficult immediately after reopening. Keep employees and customers safe and confident about coming to your business, and adapt your operating model to changing conditions. Basically, I think that as we reopen, it's going to be important to recognize that businesses have fixed expenses, variable expenses, and as we attempt to manage the fixed expenses and ramp up the variable, that we hopefully find that they match revenue, or it'll be very difficult to continue to stay afloat. Some of the things that we're looking at in terms of the restart is how can we at the Chamber and at CEDC help you to develop a detailed relaunching map for your business? How to come up with plans that will give customers safety guarantees to instill their confidence? How do you safeguard the health of your own employees? What can be done collectively and through webinars and training and coaching and counseling and technical assistance to help build demand through creative marketing, to reboot your operations and reestablish your supply chains? What role will IT and technology have in helping you restart your business? And then steer the restart with care, being ready always to make mid-course corrections, especially hoping that we don't have an increase in the virus after reopening and we have to pull back and start again. And sustain value for your business by continuing to reinvest as your revenues go up and increase. These won't be easy, but both the Chamber has longstanding programs and initiatives to support businesses across industry sectors here in the county. CEDC has provided over 92 grants to small businesses. We have a small business microloan program and a Columbia County revolving loan fund to assist businesses with short-term loans at low interest rates, all in an effort to provide assistance to you. And we also will be, as Jeff will point out, setting up some resource channels for you to access these and other resources that we plan to pull together for your benefit. Jeff?
Thanks, Mike. We have a few action items. The first item that I'd like to talk about is the Columbia County Business Survey. I know there's a lot of surveys out there now, but this was a place where we can try to get a composite of all those surveys and to sort of steer it towards what the governor is requesting in terms of what he needs to know from our businesses within Columbia County on how best to reopen safely. We also created a centralized online information portal and mailing list. Please take note to our new web address, columbiacomeback.com. Information from that will be placed onto that website. And any specific questions that you may have for those who are on YouTube, you can simply email us there at info@Columbia-Comeback, and that information will be shipped to both CEDC and the Chamber. For committee members, what we need to do is discuss and determine communications channels and frequencies. We understand that you're all business people and are in the throes of this pandemic, as all of us are. And so we want to be mindful of your time and want to communicate with you with the most effective ways and most technologically efficient ways possible. And we also want to measure the frequency so we're not consuming your time. Also, for the group to think about, we would like for you to define industry focus groups. I think it's pretty clear that we should focus on the phases, like phase 1, construction, manufacturing, supply chain. And then phase 2, we will focus around those as well. Next meeting, we're looking to do full committee meetings every 2 weeks, so we're not dominating your time. So the next meeting will be Monday at 1 p.m., which is the 25th. That's a full committee meeting. And again, Monday, June 8th. Industry focus groups, we would like to have our first meeting May 18th at 1 p.m. to talk about phase 1 and phase 2 businesses. And then on Wednesday, May 20th at 1 p.m., we would like to talk about phase 3 and 4 businesses. Again, community participation, you can subscribe to receive newsletters at columbiacountycomeback.com or contact us at info@columbiacomeback.com. Again, those that email into info@columbiacountycomeback.com will be automatically sent to CEDC in the chamber. Thanks to Katie for all her work on that.
Hey, Jeff, this is Kelly Becerra from the Clerk of the Board of Supervisors. You set a meeting May 25th, which is Memorial Day.
I'm sorry?
The
Meeting.
May 25th?
Yes.
We will make it on Tuesday then.
Yeah, we'll make it on Tuesday. Sorry about that.
I just wanted to make sure.
We thought all holidays were canceled.
Yeah.
So, Jeff.
So we apologize for that, but we were trying to be mindful of time and we wanted to set some target dates, but we will certainly adjust to that. We didn't realize that at the time. And I just want to thank Mike's staff and my staff for all they do for us in the community. They've been very diligent in making this process as smooth as we can make it. Thank you again, people. Mike.
And Jeff, both the chamber staff and the CED staff have been terrific and worked very well together. And we look forward to working with everyone in the county and helping your businesses. We want to particularly thank Ken Blass and his team at Blass Communications, who assisted us over the weekend in putting together this program and the website. And we want to thank Matt Morrell, the chair of the Board of Supervisors, as well as Supervisor Bury, who from Germantown, who is the chair of the Economic Development Committee, for their assistance in promoting this program and allowing us to set this up and asking us to co-chair it. This part of the session gets a little bit complicated. We do have members of the committee itself on the call, and we are going to hope to provide them with a minute or 2 minutes of open discussion. I think the best way would be for me to go down through the industry categories and ask by name, if one by one, if you have something to say, if it's been said before, or you have lengthy comments, we could take those after the meeting by email, but we did want to give the members of the committee a chance to at least have some comment. So first up would be Joe Gilbert from the Berry Farm.
I know Joe is on the call. Joe, just unmute yourself.
Why don't we see if Brian Chittenden, representing Dutch Hollow Farms, is here. We'll loop back to anyone we missed. Annie Brody from the Crandall Theater.
Here I go. Hello?
Hello. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Well, we're kind of waiting to see what when phase 4 date actually is going to start. And the thing we're most concerned about is having people wanting to come back feeling that it's safe. And to my mind, the lack of testing is going to be a big problem. And so I'm really hoping that we can make some movement on that front. And I don't know how we do that. I understand it's coming from the state. I don't know what the process is for advocating for that. But I think until we really have a more confident sense of whether or not we're affected much, it's going to deter people from wanting to go out in public in large spaces.
Thank you.
That's really the only thing I have to say right now. I'm here really to listen and get other ideas about ways that we can support coming back in Columbia County.
Thank you. From Consumer Services, Bruce Bonsack from GTEL. Next up, Tom Kroll from Chatham Brewing, and after that would be Jock Winch on deck. Tom?
Yeah, good afternoon. So I guess we're representing the craft beverage producers, of which there are about 20 in the county now. And we're kind of a hybrid between wholesale operations and retail. So like Annie was just saying, I think for the retail side, it's looking at anything we can do to inspire consumer confidence of when they'll actually come back to our tasting rooms for those of us who don't have large outdoor spaces that might be more suitable for public gatherings. And then on the wholesale side, it's looking as other restaurants and hospitality businesses open up, hopefully we'll start to see that side of our business come back. We've been fortunate that the governor expanded our privileges, allowing home delivery and shipment direct to consumer. Those are set to expire May 15th. I know the Brewers Associations are hoping that those will be extended before they expire so we can keep going until we get back to normal. But I know that the New York State Brewers Association has prepared a regional reopening plan for the capital region, which we're part of, that they've already submitted to the state. I guess one question, I had a sort of how the counties are coordinating with each other within the region. What's that regional committee structure look like? And then look forward to getting down to figuring out how we can move forward once we hit our metrics. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, this is Bruce. Mike, this is Bruce. Can I weigh in for a second?
Please.
I'm sorry, I'm back. I just want to mention that GTEL has installed some free Wi-Fi hotspots throughout Southern Columbia County, and I thought I'd like to make mention of those. We have hotspots at the Town of Livingston Town Hall, the Claremont Town Hall, Gallatin Town Hall, and Taconic Town Hall. Also in Germantown on Main Street, and in Germantown at the Pavilion at Palatine Park, and at Lasher Park at the boat launch in North Germantown. So those 7 hotspots are available for anyone. They're free, and we hope that assists anyone with their schoolwork or if they have to work at home. Thank you, Mike.
Great. Thank you very much. I think Chairman Morrell will answer some of the questions, Tom, at the end about how we fit into the region. Jock?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jock from Clawbrick Builders, representing the construction industry. Basically, I think we're just kind of waiting to see when we can get back to full capacity. Our industry is pretty capable of social distancing, at least out here in the more regional areas. That and navigating the Paycheck Protection Plan loan program is about what were the questions that I hear mostly in our industry, and then just whatever guidelines we'll come up with for the new workspace when we get back to it.
Great, thank you.
Can you hear me? Joe Gilbert from the Berry Farm.
Great, how are you, Joe?
Good. I finally figured out how to unmute. Sorry. I'm working off a flip phone. All right. So you can hear me? Hello?
Yes, go
You
ahead.
Okay. A few things. As far as ag, as far as most of us are just getting into the season. Dairy farms, which I do not know about, are in a much tougher bind than most of us fruit and vegetable growers. Actually, some of us who have retail markets are doing fairly well because we were designated as an essential. I just have a couple things just to say about when we come up with these rules and laws about how to reopen. One of the most important things is, as a retail owner, because most of us have retail places, is enforcement. So if you have a sign out front that says wear a mask, wear gloves, you as a business owner or your staff have to be diligent on keeping people away and asking people to please leave if we do not respond. And I think that's going to be very important. That's very hard for business owners to do too. You don't want to chase customers out, but I think it's essential. We've been doing it here fairly successful. I've got a good staff of 20 that work here, and they're all really helping with that. And if you come to our place, you can, after a while, everybody's in line. Everybody, all the customers are filing in. They're 6 foot apart. They wear masks. They wear gloves. They respect. And that's a big thing as we go forward. And just for now, I'll just listen for the rest of the ring. Okay.
Great. Thank you very much. John Bruze from Ginsberg Foods.
Good afternoon. We're an essential business, so we've been operating the whole time. I've just got a list of questions, but I'll wait towards the end. Thank you.
Okay. We heard from Dr. Drummer from the college. Neil Howard, the superintendent from Taconic Hills Central School District. Neil?
Hi, folks. I'm going to echo Dr. Drummer a little bit. We're more concerned about the unknowns at this point, state funding, unfunded mandates, how to make it safe for all employees. We have some very worried parents. We have some worried children. I'm concerned about social, emotional well-being. I would like to thank all the teachers that have stepped up for remote teaching, and we're trying to be as flexible as possible. We're delivering 1,200 meals Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, as well as backpack program 2 times a week to over 50 families. So we're still operating, and I think we're doing a pretty good job underneath the circumstances. Are in touch with the health department and with all the other superintendents in Columbia County, at least weekly, if not 2 or 3 times a week, all trying to get on the same page and to have consistency within our programs to provide education. I will say that it's the governor's mandates for the absentee ballot for school elections and budgets is extremely cumbersome. And it's going to cost us tens of thousands of more dollars in the process to pull off this relatively small process and voting process. So I'm very disheartened about that, trying to wade through that, but encouraged that the committee is formed and moving forward, and to be happy to be part of the solution to the economic contributions that the district makes to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. Next, we have Jay Callahan from Columbia Memorial Hospital, or Columbia Memorial Health, I'm sorry.
Hi, Mike. Just want to make sure you can hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Well, really happy to be here. And I think the most important thing for me to start out with is to thank everybody in the community for the support we've received. You know, many of you on the phone, in fact, have personally made those expressions of support. And I just want to say how important those have been to our staff and our leadership here. So thank you very much. I think some of you may have read that we recently began under a waiver elective procedures here at the hospital. The region did not qualify. The county was judged to be ineligible based on some metrics. But we did file a waiver with the state, and we were able to receive the approval with only minor conditions to go ahead and start elective procedures, which we did do today. That dovetails into something that Jack said earlier, and that is, in order to maintain the ability to do those elective procedures and for the hospital to qualify on behalf of the region to have capacity, you must maintain 30% of your med-surg beds and your ICU beds, two different categories. So meaning that we have to be cautious that we don't go over 70% capacity. The reason for that is so that we're ready in the event there is any kind of surge in the future. What I'd like you to know, because there are several very specific hospital metrics that dovetail into the opening of a region, we by and large are meeting those now, most nearly all of them. So without boring you with the details, I will just tell you that a couple that give me some concern for the future still need to be clarified in guidance that we expect to receive shortly. But one requirement is that hospitals have at least 90 days of PPE on hand. And obviously the clarification will need to be around understanding exactly what that means. There's a lot of math that can go into that. So that's something for the future, not unattainable, however, just something that I'd like to understand a little bit better before speaking about it further. But the most important metric is the one that many of you have already heard. We've definitely seen a decline in hospitalizations and deaths. They are judging us on a 14-day rolling average. So we have seen those numbers come down pretty steadily now for about the last 2 or 3 weeks. Obviously, it concerns us a bit that in some of the congregate living facilities, there are some areas there that are of concern, but for right now, that seems to be being managed very well from a hospitalization point of view. But that is something that obviously we need to be concerned about and be ready for. And that also can change some of the math. I think that's all I'd like to say for the good of the order right now, and happy to answer questions later on should there be any. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay, and thank you for the great work that you and your team at CMH are doing here in Columbia County and in Greene County.
Thank you.
To the lodging sector, we have Rita Birmingham from Mount Marino Manor.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Good afternoon. Go ahead, please.
Oh, thanks. I wanted to thank all the county initiatives for helping all the small businesses and putting this together. But one thing I wanted to start with was that hospitality and lodging, as you all know, has been hit very hard. According to the governor's directives, hotels and temporary accommodations are on the essential business list, on the essential infrastructure. But I noticed that on the county comeback, it was part of phase 3 to reopen again. So that was just a question that I had, to start off. But that said, even though the governor's deemed us essential, I can speak for my fellow lodging professionals that we really haven't had any business because of the, stay home and stay safe. We all are, putting together our own protocols when we are able to get, travelers back. Our business is, it's a seasonal area for travelers. And so we were, coming out of the first quarter, which was typically a slow time. And then the summer and the fall is when we historically, regain revenue again and travelers come out because there's so much to do in this area during those times. We, as many of my fellow lodging professionals, have been using this time to deep clean, organize, sanitize, according to the CDC and EPA guidelines for recommended cleaning materials. We've developed protocols, and I'd like to get together with the other lodging professionals and develop a list of protocols that we're all following to keep guests safe. And I mean, I can talk more about what we're doing at the end if anyone would like to know specifically. But I think that generally speaking, the last part of the year and in 2021, travel is going to come back really strong. I know from the industry organizations and the research that I've been doing, and even from personal conversations with and previous guests and guests, that people are really anxious to get out again. Everyone's been cooped up. The one thing I do know is that car travel is going to be the first initiative. People are going to be more comfortable driving to a staycation or location than flying. And I think people will come out again slowly but safely. And I know myself and Bob and several other lodging professionals feel really confident that travelers are going to come out again.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Great. We're have 6 or 7 left to go. We ask that you try to move it along for us. And it looks like we will be done by our planned time of 2:30. Next up is Robert Rasner from Elijah Slocum and Inn at 34. Bob is also the chair of Hudson Development Corporation. Bob?
Thanks, Mike, and thanks to all of you. I share Rita's concern that the governor notes that lodging is exempt from the pause, yet we also are listed as a phase 3 opening. In speaking with all the lodging properties in Hudson, those would be exempting Airbnb properties, all the hotels, bed and breakfasts. We're keenly aware that what normal was before is not coming back anytime in the foreseeable future. We're working to have a consistent message from each facility about cleanliness and sanitation across the industry. So a guest can be assured of the same level of care and safety no matter where they choose to stay when they start to come back. We're also well down the road of developing a marketing program across the industry. So a proposed guest coming here doesn't have to go through a dozen websites to figure out where are the rooms available and what are the price of those rooms. Aside from that, my concerns have been addressed by others in the group, and we should move on to the next speaker.
Great. Thank you very much. From manufacturing, John Lee from Saturn Industries. John?
Mike, I just got a note that John left the meeting. He may log back in, so you may want to go to Derek or Elena, I'm sorry.
Okay, I am muted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so representing nonprofits and also active in our arts community, because we're in the 4th phase, I think that we're going to be able to take a lot of our cues and directions from the folks that are opening in front of us and seeing how they work. Hopefully, as with the not-for-profits, that they've been able to take advantage of the PPE and any of the loans that continue to be offered. One of the things that struck me initially in terms of nonprofits and services space, the different types of spaces and the arts organizations as well that we have, and how we are going to move forward with providing services and or programming because of the space requirements and distancing. So a lot of those things are really to be determined, and we just have to really take our cues. And moving forward, I'm hoping to get more feedback from people under this focus group or in this area so that we can really start talking about what the detailed issues are going to be. You know, we're not a major city with major spaces. You know, we're real Columbia County and in Hudson with small spaces and other parts of the county. So those are going to be I think the top issues after we move back from the employees, if we're able to bring the employees back and look at what we are going to do in terms of services and programming. And then the last thing I want to mention that we need to take into consideration is the churches. I mean, most churches in the last decade have lost a lot of their members in their congregation and already have small congregations. And then trying to move forward and open, you know, what is that going to look like? And we, of course, like many counties, have a lot of religious institutions around.
Thank you, and thank you and all of the not-for-profits throughout the county who are serving those who are most in need. And we want to also thank the Berkshire Taconic Foundation for their efforts, not only in supporting the Business Continuity Fund, but also the Emergency Relief Fund supporting not-for-profits in the county. Is John Lee back, or shall we go to Derek Latour at Metzwood?
I think we got to go with Derek.
Okay, Derek.
So as it's quiet, since you mentioned Berkshire Taconic, Mike, I just want to mention the Stewards Foundation also, who has put out a request to get assistance. And I just briefly snuck into my office this morning and received funding from Stewards, and I'm partnering with the Hudson Rotary. And, you know, one of our initiatives, of course, is going to be the PPE, but also reaching out to the educational, the families in need of the Wi-Fi that may not be able to access these hotspots, but need to continue. And now that we know that school is not going to open, we really have a bigger need. So Stewards is in there, and I'm sure there's other organizations and groups who are doing things as well.
Yes, it's been a community gathering together to help in any way they can, and it's you know, so important for those who are at the most in need, while at the same time focusing on how to get business back so that we can continue to drive the economy to help everyone. Derek, are you available?
Derek's mic is not working right now.
Okay.
He said go to the next person, and if he can get his mic fixed, he'll join.
From Look Hudson, Marie Bally. Marie? If not, we'll go to Bob Lucky from the Cascades.
I'm on?
Good.
Okay, hello.
Good, we can hear you.
Oh, good, okay, very good. No, I just wanted to say thank you for having this committee, and also to the Hudson and Columbia County community who have supported the restaurants who are open, because I have seen a lot of new business kind of going out to supporting these restaurants on a takeout basis, although I don't think it's sustainable for the long period, but it has been helpful. But for the restaurants that we're in the third phase, and it's still a little scary. We don't know when that third phase is going to be. I know the first phase is this Friday, but you know, those dates can change. And on top of that, it concerns me a little bit more is that then we're at 25% and 50%. And when those dates move through the summer, I echo some of what Rita's concerns. I mean, for the tourism season, we're going to be into fall and probably lost a lot of the restaurants and catering venues have lost a large part of their income for the summer, and then they're heading into wintertime. And I would just be mindful that next winter could be a very difficult time for many businesses in the hospitalities because they have lost a good portion of their season this year, and they don't have a huge cash reserve to kind of without a good season to get through the winter. So that concerns me to a certain extent, but that's for a different discussion. But yeah, I just want to just kind of see what the new normal is going to be, and let's work through this and work with the rules that are in place, and hope we can get this thing open quicker sooner than later, because it is, I think, for the hospitality, every week is getting to be crucial to get through the season, because it's a very short window, and when you're seasonal, it's important to get as much done as we can right now. But I know we still have to be safe and careful to get through this. So thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Next, we have Rob Lagonia from Lagonia's Restaurant, who's also the supervisor of the town of Austerlitz. Rob?
Hello, everyone. I think I'll defer to Bob. I mean, he mentioned many things about the restaurant industry, obviously, that are incredibly difficult. Restaurants that are going to have to operate at 50% or 6-foot distancing. These are going to be very challenging and difficult situations for everyone. So in reference to that, Bob covered most of it. As far as myself goes, I'm the head of the Health and Human Services at the county, so I'm working very closely with Jack Mabb and Matt Burrell, and we have a group that meets every day at 11 o'clock. So as this discussion continues on, there's probably a lot of areas where I can help businesses in reference to getting products that they may need. So I'm here for anyone if they need any help, and just to move things along. I think that's enough for now. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have Supervisor Robert Bury from Germantown and Supervisor Hoteling from New Lebanon. Would either of you like to have something, say something before I ask our county clerk and county treasurer for brief remark?
I would just like to say that I thank Chairman Morrell for putting this group together, my fellow supervisors, Mike Tucker, Jeff Hunt. This is a very dynamic group, and we have a lot of work ahead of us. And I know working together, we can get there. Thank you.
Supervisor Hoteling?
Hi, everyone. I would like to also just thank everyone for your hard work in making this happen. I think it's really important that we're being proactive and getting together now to talk about what our businesses are going to need when we do meet those metrics. On a town level, I've definitely been delivering masks and sanitizer and ear savers to employees that have to wear masks all day, to the businesses that are currently operating. And that's something that I can bring to the table countywide. We have a lot of people making these ear savers. If you have to wear a mask for 8 hours a day, it's nice to have something to hook it to other than your ears. We're also making more masks than we need here. And so if that sort of committee forms, I would like to request to be on that, to kind of coordinate getting the materials that the businesses need to them to be able to safely open. So thank you all for all your hard work.
Mike, you're on mute again.
We look forward to working with all the supervisors and the businesses in each of the towns, as well as in the city of Hudson. County Clerk Holly Tanner.
Okay, hello everybody. Can you hear me? I'll hold the phone up.
Yes, we can.
Am I here? Am I unmuted? Okay. Well, thank you so much to the chairman for putting this together, adding me to the committee, and to Mike and Jeff for their efforts on this. Not easy doing these meetings like this. It was very interesting to hear all of the businesses. As far as DMV goes, we were closed via a separate executive order by the governor. I'm not sure what phase we are listed in. I spoke with the lieutenant governor on Friday, and she gave me some good tips. I will have an association meeting with the DMV committee to discuss those suggestions that she made, because what I'm here to say is DMVs specifically should not be regionalized in opening. I'm doing limited vehicle transaction services with great success. People are anxious in upstate New York. DMV is an essential service. which is messages that I have relayed both to the Commissioner of DMV, the Lieutenant Governor, and whoever else will listen, all the supervisors. So yeah, it's pretty busy. As far as safety goes, I want to really say a big thank you to Columbia County Facilities. Brian McDonald and his staff have done an excellent job. We are ready to go. We have our barriers installed between Rob Lagonia and the sheriff. We have masks for staff. We have gloves. We have hand sanitizers. We will have signs. State DMV provided us with signage. We are ready to go as far as opening. But everyone listening on the line and on YouTube, you should know the governor extended all license and vehicle registration registration expiration dates. So if you are expired, you have the governor's approval to drive with that expired license or with those expired plates. So you don't have to do those things. We cannot do any license renewal transactions because that's an in-office visit and the office is closed. For the businesses that are on the phone, or on the listening in, if you have vehicles that you need to register for your business, I'm here for you. My information can be found on Facebook, Holly Tanner, Columbia County Clerk /DMV, and the county website for ways to get a hold of me. Or you can email me, call my cell phone, however you need to get in touch with me, we can make things happen. So I will address any questions, and I would actually ask Mike and Jeff, if you do get DMV or clerk specific related questions, please forward them to me. I do my best effort. I'm usually up till midnight answering Facebook messages from people across the state who want to register vehicles. Clerk's office, we are recording land records, e-recording, we are e-filing court records. The court system has kind of opened back up a little bit. We are processing pistol permit amendments and sending them to the courthouse. The governor had made abstractors essential, so I've been letting them in upstairs to do their record searches. So land records are moving. We've actually been very busy. A lot of people buying and selling homes. So, all right. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Holly.
Hey, Mike.
PJ Keeler.
Katie, can you?
Mike, PJ saying he's having a hard time getting in.
Okay. Then,
And Katie, could you?
Just before Jeff goes back and takes a look at our final wrap up with Chairman Morrell, we have had a number of questions. They range from individuals in the salon business looking for guidance and advice, which we will post and answer that question. We want to remind you that our public libraries, the Columbia County Library Association, is a very important resource and will be a partner with us in getting information out to you. And, if we have, I think we're close to the witching hour here. So if anyone has any questions, we're going to stay after the close of the meeting, Jeff and I, but I know several of the business representatives and public officials have other commitments. But I want to thank you on behalf of CEDC, and know that we're here to all of you who are listening in. And we're hopefully this is as an effective vehicle as it's available to us right now. But turn to Jeff Hunt and then to Chairman Morrell.
Thank you, Mike. Katie, could you go to slide 24? Yes, I just want to recap the action items. We're looking to have the survey online by Wednesday of this week. So the committee members, you should have received a draft copy of the survey in your presentation packets. Just take a look at those. If you have anything that's glaring, please let us know before we launch the survey on Wednesday. Also, the official portal is ColumbiaCountyComeback.com. One of the most important things is the frequency and the channels of communication for the focus groups. Sorry. One of the most important things. So if you were willing to stay on and talk a little bit about that, Mike and I both will be here. We know the chairman has another commitment. He has a call with the governor coming up very shortly. So, and I know some of the other supervisors have other calls as well. And then we also want to just make sure we define which industry sector you're in and which phase that you're in. You may be in one or two and may have some questions related to that. And we want to make sure that you're real specific on what phases that you're in as well. And again, Katie, can you move to the next slide just so people can write down the next meetings? Obviously, we won't meet on the 25th because that's Memorial Day, so that date will change to the 26th. But please note the start time will remain the same for the full committee. And also Monday, June 8th will be the third meeting of the full committee. Industry focus groups, we're looking to get those phase 1 and 2 businesses to meet next Monday, May 18th at 1 p.m. via the same vehicle that we're using now. And also phase 3 and 4 businesses Wednesday, May 20th at 1 p.m. And again, I'd like to thank the chairman and all the board of supervisors for all their support and making Mike and I co-chairs of this board, the select committee for the county board of supervisors. And thank you again, Chairman Monroe.
We just had one text from Assembly Member Barrett asking us to remind you all to fill out your census forms. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Again, I'd just like to thank Mike Tucker and Jeff Punt from the CEDC and the Chamber for co-chairing this committee. As I said, this is a valuable committee, and I see a lot of positive things coming from it. To say, and I've used this before, this virus has turned into a two-headed monster. It's the monster of the virus that we're dealing with and the unfortunate sickness and death that's occurred from it. But it's also the virus now that it's causing to our economy. And it's, that's devastating, just as devastating. And we've got to figure out a way to balance both of them. And I think in Columbia County, the Board of Supervisors are determined to balance both and to try to get businesses open as soon as we possibly can. It's not going to be easy, but I think with hard work and we're all willing to put time and the work in, we'll be able to get this done. So again, I'd just like to thank everyone for your efforts and your continued support of this committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Those of you who have to go, please drop off, and Jeff and I will take a minute break and be here to answer questions from anyone that would like to stay. If you're listening in on YouTube, please email our questions to us and we will get back to you. And we will ask you to sign up for notices from this committee online. So thank you very much.
Mike and
Just
Jeff,
one other housekeeping item.
Next meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Katie, we have some, John Brucey put a couple questions on chat. Are you able to see those?
Yes, I can see them.
Okay.
John, that's a question that we can get you an answer for. Are metrics calculated by the region and aggregated totals or county by county? I think that I did see something today where it indicated that Columbia County was 5 out of 7. I don't know would that hold back the region or whether we get the benefit of a county that may be in better shape than the region, but we will find that out. Are documented business protocols required by the state? If so, what are they and who are they reported to? And is there guidance as far as what it should contain? Again, we will be monitoring that. We know that as of this date, the governor has only put out the CEDC guidelines as well as his 12-point plan that will be posted on our website. But we will have to follow up with some of these questions because I think they're all being evolved. But I think as we pass these along to Mike Yevely at Empire State Development and Mike Morris and Sam Parker, the regional representatives for the governor, and we will be able to follow up and continue to find out information as it becomes available.
And I see, Mike, that Derek Latouris, Mike is fixed, and also John Lee has joined.
Yeah, I'm here, Jeff.
Okay.
John, do you have a few thoughts on where we are and where we need to go?
Yeah, on manufacturing, I apologize. It's a new laptop and
I got lost in coronavirus, I guess. Yeah, as the phase one committee starts to work, I'd like to find out how many manufacturers fell under the essential business, that they are essential businesses and working with limited staffing. They will probably have an edge up on people that do not or that were not essential businesses. As we move forward, social distancing for manufacturers may be a little bit of a problem. Depends on how they're laid out. With equipment in place, it may not be so easy to move equipment, but it may be something that we have to look at with some type of barrier that can be put between machines. And we'll look, I think if we talk to other manufacturers, we can come up with best practices on things like that. I'd also, let's see, which manufacturers took advantage of the PPP and what plans do they have after that first 8 weeks? I think that we can talk to one another about that and see how that may how we may move forward. When manufacturing reopens, what assistance they feel that they're going to need. Those are the questions that I want to talk to the other manufacturers about. And if any of them are listening, we can certainly, have them start putting that together for us. I think that's about it for right now. But I'm looking forward to the, I'm looking forward to the first industry focus group on May 18th.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Are there any other chat room questions, Mike?
I don't see anything in the chat room. I know we have additional questions that are coming through from YouTube. And we would ask our YouTube audience to email us at the end if you have questions or you have comments, if you have suggestions. This was our first attempt at doing this, and I'm sure there are things that from your individual experiences you could suggest to us to make this better. And but we do appreciate your participation in addition to the participation by the committee members. Anyone from the committee want to jump on for a final comment? If not, Jeff, why don't you wrap it up and we'll get back to everyone as this process continues.
Yes, and we realize that this is our first attempt at this. Believe me, it's a lot of moving parts, and we respect each of your time and your efforts. Just know we're working to try to make this as easy as possible. We want to thank each and every one of you who participated as committee members. We also want to thank those who followed this meeting on YouTube. Your questions will be received and answered. And just be patient with us. We'll get through this together. This is our Columbia County Comeback Task Force, and we're looking to just be an assistance and a resources to businesses as you begin to reopen. And we want to thank you again, and make sure if you have any questions about resources, look at CDC's website, the Chamber's website, and also the Facebook pages for CDC, Columbia County Tourism, the county's website for up-to-date information about the virus. Just use us as a resource as you move forward, and we remain here for you for any questions you might have.
Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you.
Kelly, are you still on the line?
Yes.
Perfect. Mike, Jeff, great job. Everybody else. Kelly, when you have a moment, if you can share, do you need to share a separate link for that PDF? I'm sorry, for the video, or can we use that link to make available on our respective websites, newsletters, and follow-up?
Actually, Oswaldo, are you still on? You should be recording the meeting.
We can follow up with him. And Kelly, thank you for.
He's here. Okay.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you guys for all your hard work.
Thanks, Supervisor.